We're going to begin with a very serious story because it's a dangerous moment in the Middle East as President Biden weighs a response to the deaths of those 3 U.S. service members at a U.S. outpost in Jordan. Now, they were killed in a drone strike. It's blamed on a militia linked to Iran. This morning, we're learning new details about those 3 Americans whose home base was in Georgia. Ed O'Keefe is following all of this at the White House. Ed, I keep thinking about those families who are in deep, deep pain this morning. Good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning. As we await a decision from the president, we know he's balancing several different factors. One of them, the concern about giving prominence to these militias that have been targeting U.S. military forces since the Israel-Hamas war began in October. But the other factor to consider, how any kind of military response would play here at home. 23-year-old specialist Breonna Moffett, 24-year-old specialist Kennedy Sanders, and 46-year-old Sergeant William Rivers. The 3 Americans killed in Sunday's attack were all decorated Army reservists assigned to the 926th Engineer Brigade out of Fort Moore, Georgia. A U.S. official says the one-way drone used in the attack was Iranian-made, the same kind Iran has provided to Russia to aid in its invasion of Ukraine and to the militias it supports.
Iran continues to arm and equip these groups to launch these attacks.
Pentagon officials tell CBS News the explosive drone came in low and slow, several minutes after a U.S. drone was returning from a mission in Syria. The base's air defense system had been temporarily taken offline to allow the American drone to land safely. There was little to no warning for the troops still in their sleeping quarters.
We will respond, and that response could be multi-leveled, come in stages, and be sustained over time.
President Biden huddled with top advisors Monday while it's still unclear whether the U.S. will directly target Iran.
We are not looking for a war with Iran. We are not seeking a conflict with the regime in a military way.
On Capitol Hill, some Republicans say the militias responsible should be hit with force.
These are the tentacles of Iran, and we need to hit the tentacles hard to send a message to Iran that the United States will not tolerate attacks on our troops.
While some Democrats are urging caution.
We are increasingly getting pulled into a wider and wider war in the Middle East, and I think we have to be extremely careful about what our next steps are.
Now, there have been some notable comments from the Secretary of State, who said yesterday that in his view, the Middle East hasn't been in such a dangerous situation in at least 50 years. Those are comments resonating this morning around the world. As for the president, he hasn't said much more yet about the attacks since briefly commenting on them on Sunday. Today, he's keeping a decidedly political schedule with fundraisers scheduled in Florida.
I know we are concerned about the U.S.'s response, but I can't help but to feel for those families. Ed, thank you.